Welcome to episode 137 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast.
I'm so glad you keep up with that stuff because I got nothing.
I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure it's 130. I put 137 on everything, so it is or it's not. We'll when I fix it later on. But we're all three here.
Yay!
We haven't all been on the podcast in like a month.
Yeah,
I feel like
Rachel was here, and then I was missed 2 weeks.
I feel like when we went to dinner, because we went to dinner the other night, and I feel like that's the first time that I've seen you and Rachel in like
we haven't done a show.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
we haven't done a show in a while, like a reptile show.
We haven't all been at the same show since Conrad.
Yeah,
in June.
Yeah, I think that's right.
No, in September.
I'm gonna go with the person that Facebook user says "Go Yankees" is probably that.
We were just talking about you too.
Fucking Yankees.
See you
tomorrow.
There's few things in life that give me more joy than Aroldis Chapman's face in 2017 when Altuve hit the walk-off home run in the freaking ninth inning. But it was like what it has ruined Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah,
I mean he got left off the postseason roster this year. But cheating years. I knew he was going to say that. When you got nothing else, that's all you can say.
We're talking about sports. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I don't care how shallow it is. This weekend in football was amazing.
Yeah,
because I got to watch Alabama lose.
Yeah,
that's all. I get it. Alabama fans
slept through the whole game except for the last 2 minutes, and I got up to go watch the last 2 minutes because I needed to see it happen.
Well, I get Alabama fans will say, way to go, you're cheering that we lost, not your team won. Yeah, fuck it, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm cheering that Alabama lost. You try growing up an hour away from Tuscaloosa most of your life and then moving to the state of Alabama, fucking hate them. Yeah. And I say that with family members and friends that are fans of Alabama. Fucking hate Alabama.
I grew up an Alabama fan, and then I went to Troy, and then I became a Troy fan.
Yeah, I know the Braves lost. They traded away too many players and just did not have the offense when it came time for it. They peaked in the middle of the season, and
they managed to have that run at the end, and
they had great pitching there towards the end.
Right there at the end, they made that run and knocked the Mets out. And so in 2005 in the National League Championship Series, Albert Pujols hit a home run off Brad Lidge that has yet to land, and Brad Lidge that's it. It afterwards fucked him up. He was never right again.
This is not a baseball podcast.
Whatever. I can talk about that all night.
Pujols, I've got to say this. I was never a huge fan of him. I don't know. Whatever. But as he got older, I realized baseball is going to miss Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big loss with him retiring. And what's crazy is like he's retiring because he said, I'm going to retire and that's it. And we'll see. I mean, so do a lot of other people, but I kind of believe him. But he definitely could come back next year to try and get moved higher up on the list.
He could.
He was still knocking home runs, no problem.
He's at what, 707?
I don't know, but I think he's 707 years old.
Yeah. Well, you figure
because you got to figure his real age probably wasn't his real age when he started baseball. So
right, he been playing since 01.
Yeah.
So
him a long time.
It's a long 21 years.
Was it him and Tom Brady?
Yeah. None of them beat Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. Cal Ripken was old when he retired.
Nolan Ryan pitched till he was 67 years old,
Yeah.
I bet Nolan Ryan at 75 or whatever he is now could probably pick the baseball up and still
crush it.
Kill it.
Yeah. Speaking of, I promise we'll get to reptiles at some point. Yeah. The funniest thing I saw on Facebook the last week was that Randy Johnson is now a photographer at football games.
He's been a photographer.
Yeah, and that picture's like 10 years old.
Yes.
That's crazy.
He's been a photographer for
how
years.
does 7 foot Randy Johnson, man who crushes pigeons with baseballs, scares the hell out of any batter, take pictures for so long with no one going, hey, that's Randy Johnson taking our picture.
It was big when it came out, but again, that was like 10 years ago.
No, it was. I would have seen that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That is.
He did photography before he got real big in baseball.
No.
Yes.
Well, then
he has multiple degrees in photography.
Then that means he would have done photography when he was like 18.
Yeah, probably so.
But he was real big into baseball for a while after that.
Well, yeah.
Like, Hall of Fame. And so I think he's third all time on no hitters
and first all time in killing pigeons with a baseball.
Played for the Astros for one season, and it was awesome. 1998. They got him at the beginning of the season, like halfway to the All-Star break. They got him, and then he just killed it. and then went on about his way in free agency. It was a rental.
It's worth renting.
It was awesome just to know he played for us for a year.
I just don't understand how there weren't more pictures of him in the last 10 years on the sidelines of football games taking pictures. Like, how can they? There's so many cameras on a football field. How do they not turn around during a boring ass like Houston Texans game or a Detroit Lions game?
The Texans still have a team?
Yeah, I hear they play football every now and then. And just go, hey, look, guys, this game sucks. That's Randy Johnson. And let's just go interview Randy Johnson while he takes pictures. Just saying.
Yeah.
The guy crushed a bird.
He's pretty intimidating. So, if he's busy taking pictures, I'm probably not going to walk up and be like, let me interrupt what you're doing to say hi.
That is true. He'll throw a ball at you and crush you like a pigeon.
Yeah.
Just, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in sports. The timing it took and the fact of who it was. And that fastball was going about 700 miles an hour. So it didn't obliterate the pigeon. It went through it and melted the pigeon on impact.
Yeah, pretty much.
God, that is. If anybody's never seen that video, there's no way.
If you've never seen it, please by all means go.
Yeah, you've got to go search.
Go Google
Randy
that.
Johnson. Just search Randy Johnson pigeon. I promise.
If you start typing in on YouTube, Randy,
it's probably the first thing that comes up.
The first thing, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
It's Randy Johnson Pittsburgh, Randy Bot Johnson bird, Randy Johnson dove, Randy Johnson pigeon.
Yes.
It's like the first four.
The good thing is, like, he was a great pitcher. Like, I guess if you were a shitty pitcher and that's the one thing you're known for, you're like, fuck, I'm known for killing the fucking bird. That's the only thing. But like, he's a great pitcher, so it's still a cool story.
Oh, this one's in slow motion.
Just see nothing.
Oh, gone.
It's like poof.
And the ball still goes all the way to the backstop.
That's what's crazy.
See, Anal Side Exotics says he turned it into a pink mist.
Pretty much.
What's up, See Anal Side Exotics? All right. Oh, all right. They're Canadian. All right. So I know we don't talk about what goes on the Zoom calls with Chris from Snakes in the Fat Man, but there's one thing we can talk about just because do y'all have bagged milk up there in Canada? Because there was a Canadian on the call and he had bagged milk. Like, it didn't come in a carton. It didn't come in a jug. It came in a fucking bag. And then he had to put the bag inside of a pitcher once you cut the corner.
Why do Canadians buy milk in bags?
Because they're fucking Canadians.
Because bagged milk evangelists, that's what it says, argue that pouches use 75% less plastic than the average plastic milk jug.
You can use a paper milk. I mean, paper milk containers. How do you put a lost kid on a bag of milk?
Do they still do that with cartons?
No, but I'm guessing Canada never did. They have bags of milk.
Maybe they don't lose their kids in Canada.
No, they just don't care. They wander off in the wilderness and get killed by a
usually
moose.
one of the corners is cut off to allow for pouring, and the bag is stored in a pitcher or jug.
Yeah, see, that makes so what you did was you put it in a bag and that you then have to put in a pitcher at home.
Yeah, we do. But the pitcher you just reuse. So
yeah,
I get it.
Did y'all see this thing
it's
where
bagged milk?
All the people were at that big pumpkin patch and
they caught on fire.
Burned up 73 cars.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
imagine
that was
kids
in Temple,
were having a great time. What's all that black? Yeah, it was right by the show this weekend.
Temple, Texas.
That is crazy. All right, so let's do our
show we'd like to forget.
Let's do our sponsors real quick.
If you are looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a Herbst Reptile show near you. Visit lsreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
Lucas texted me and said, James makes the most ridiculous points and it cracks me up and I love it.
Look, Canal Side Exotic says, yeah, we have to buy a separate container to hold the bags of milk. It just, that whole process, someone went, all right, guys, we got to get rid of.
I'm down the rabbit hole now. There's all kinds of shit.
Well, there had to be a meeting. So we're getting rid of cartons. Okay, so what are they gonna do? We're gonna put it in bags.
It requires less energy to
I don't care.
To put it together.
I love nature.
Produces less greenhouse gases than jugs or cartons.
Fuck it. I love nature. Don't put that shit in a bag. You look like a third world nation having to drink your milk out of a bag. You look like your milk was dropped. It was airdropped.
Would you like to know
with
other
supplies
countries,
for survival?
Other countries that use bagged milk are
Ethiopia,
India, China, Israel, Russia, Ukraine, Iran, Colombia, Uruguay, Argentina, Hungary, South Africa, and some parts of the U.S.
If the Israelis are doing it, it must be right.
What part of the U.S.?
I know we're afraid to tell the Israelis when they're wrong, but bagged milk is wrong. I just don't give a shit.
Speaking of milk, I know I told you guys this story already, but last Thursday when I was actually driving to meet you guys for dinner after we got through loading the trailer and whatnot, I was listening to a local talk show that I listened to. And I just kind of wasn't, when you're driving home at the end of the day, your daddy's a nut. Driving along, listening, but not really listening. And I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. He was interviewing two people. And I realized we call them Uncle Bill and Aunt Irene, but they were like my grandpa's cousins.
Right.
And they own a natural dairy here in Santa Fe, right down the road from us, where you can get, unpasteurized, raw milk. And
put into a carton.
Yeah, it actually comes in a jug.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was pretty cool listening to them because they're in their 70s. And they actually bought their first cows from when my grandpa got sick with cancer. We're going to sell all the dairy cows that he had. And because we couldn't take care of them anymore. And that's who bought them. So that milk is actually like,
oh, that's cool.
A lineage from the milk that I grew up,
And it's never been put in a bag.
Yeah, I don't think we ever put milk in a bag.
That's good.
We had these big bags that I think held like 30 gallons that were for transport. But that wasn't like you didn't plop 30 gallons of milk down on the counter and put a spigot in it.
The other night I watched that Canadian take out that bag of milk, and I honestly thought, did he buy breast milk? It looks like he just bought someone's breast milk and he's just drinking that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, technically it is.
I missed it.
That's
utterly impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways. So I thought this earlier. A year ago, so it's October, we did our Venomous month. That was our Venomous month. So anybody that's interested, if you go back a year, that was all Venomous episodes. That was a really good month of episode. Not that we haven't had good ones since then. I hate that you missed Luke last week.
That was too, man. I was looking forward to that.
That was a great one.
So for what everybody doesn't know, I don't know if you told them or not, but 2 weeks ago today, my CNC machine broke.
Yeah.
And the part is going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get here to fix it. So I'm having to scramble and cut at my friend's shop here in Pearland, which is 30 minutes from my shop. But that means I have to load up over there and then come over here, and it's on his schedule, and he works a full-time job.
Yeah.
So, so it's been interesting. In the last 2 Tuesdays, I've been over there cutting, but I did it today during the day. So, I don't have to go. I could be here tonight.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's not awesome that the machine broke.
No, that's not awesome.
Because what sucks is like last week when I cut everything Thursday morning to finished up Thursday morning because I kept breaking bits last week. And I get to the shop and Lucas is building the LS28s and he's like, hey, there's no tops for these. And I go look at my cut list and I'm like, fuck, I didn't cut tops for them. Luckily, they don't have mortise. So we just cut them by hand with a table saw.
Yeah.
But still, it's one of those things that,
Well, one thing I did want to throw out, so when you were given the little advertisement for Robert, also, if you want hides, large hides, like big boa hides, stuff like that, you started making those also out of PVC, so they're easy to clean, and even selling those like crazy as well.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, honestly, that's about the only thing I sold this weekend.
As I was reading the little ad that we wrote, I'm like, it's been a while. It's time for us to
update some stuff,
refresh this.
The hides and the cages, the 40-gallon breeder PVC cage for those that have a 40-gallon breeder front opening glass tank and they want to get away from the glass, but you still have a 40-gallon stand. You can get a 40-gallon PVC cage. That's been big. And then signs. I know that's going to be a separate thing, but you start doing a lot of signs too. Backlit signs, stuff like that.
I actually spent the afternoon today working on a Facebook page and a website for the signs, but it's Powerful Creations is the Facebook page. The website, it might not be live for a while. It's going to take me a while to get it built. But yeah, because they're fun to make, and
it's different.
The way this economy is going, racks and cages just aren't.
Well, as I told you, I think racks definitely are going to take a hit. I think people, and I've talked about this with you, and I've talked about it with several other people. The hobby, I think, is going in a different direction for several reasons. One, the overall economy is in the shitter. But two, I think finally we have reached, I know the ball python people won't admit this, and I've said it before, but we've reached saturation point of ball pythons. And not everybody can be a breeder of 60 or 70 different adult females and produce tons of babies anymore. So I think you're going to see people really refine that, and you're going to start selling cages to people that want to put their one ball python in a cage.
Been seeing a lot of that.
And not buy 6 ball pythons to put in a rack.
There are 49,555 ball pythons on Morph Market right now.
So we're almost at 50,000 ball pythons on Morph Market
for sale.
That's crazy.
There are 4,048 visual clowns, 6,000. What is the orange? It is het clowns, and there are 4,000.
Yeah, see, that's insane.
Piebald. There's 4,279 visual pieds. So if you're out there making pieds, you might want to rethink that, because there's 4,200 of them on there.
I'm trying to look for boas.
I mean, I was talking to a couple of the people this weekend who have pet stores, and pieds, bells, albinos, bananas, they all sell in the pet stores because that's somebody buying their first one all the time.
And they come in and they go, that's so rare.
Right.
Because they don't know it's not rare.
Yeah, and it's eye-catching.
Yeah.
But, people get mad. I've had a couple people get mad at me for saying that, but there's just it. I remember one of our other good friends who's also a podcaster 2 years ago saying, all this COVID money in 2 or 3 years, all these people buying in are going to create a shitload of babies, and you're just going to see the market get inundated. And he was right.
So my dad said the key to business success is to change with the times. When he was in the Air Force, they used to say Semper Gumby, always flexible. So I was looking, so like Sambo, so the things I'm into, Sambos, 500 of them.
Yeah.
That's it. Boa constrictors, there's only 4,291. Right.
And that's all the species of boas.
Yeah, that's all of them. So
how many does yours say?
Boas? 4,291.
Mine says 4,823.
Does it really?
Yeah. That's funny. So which one's right? Look, 4,823.
Oh, you know what it is? I bet it's okay. So hold on. That's probably true. I probably clicked on the wrong thing. Mine's probably just boa, maybe boa imperial, boa constrictor.
Oh, yeah. I bet yours is set to just United States.
Oh, yeah.
4,796.
4,291.
Yeah.
It's probably, but
y'all
close.
Got some filter that is doesn't.
Yeah, but it's still close.
Yeah.
3,100
corn snakes. So there's more boas than there are corn snakes right now.
There's more pied ball pythons than there are of either one of those.
Yeah. 5,700 crested geckos. It's somebody we were talking about that this weekend. They said, yeah, the crested gecko market's going that same way,
so
because
I don't know why mine's not showing that. Where do you?
So you have to go to the beta, go up top and see where you go back to the old view.
Return to old view.
Yeah, that's where you do it. If you can see it, it doesn't show it in the current view.
So there's only 1,813 king snakes. So
Amanda Reedy said, or Ready, whatever.
Ready.
Chameleons 171.
Yeah. So see, these numbers tell you one thing. If you want to sell your reptiles, ball pythons aren't it. Like I'm willing to bet that there are more of these different ones per. If you did the math comparison, sold of like boas versus the ball python.
There were a couple people this weekend who sold quite a few ball pythons, but they're both well known. People came there looking for them.
Well, there were people that had a bad time at Tinley. And I honestly think it's hard if you are the hobbyist breeder, that's going to be a hard show for you to sell at, because the big name business breeders are the ones that people are coming there to see and coming there to buy from. It doesn't mean you won't sell anything, but you're probably going to sell one or two, which really won't even pay for your tables, depending on what they are, if you're not producing the big stuff, right? So I told you the other day, I'm hoping that all of this causes. I don't hope it causes people to have to get rid of their collections, and that's not what I want. I think that would suck. But
that's because you're old, Doug.
Oh, Doug does like the old view. Don't worry,
but
Doug, I like
it too.
I like the old view too.
I don't like when things change.
I don't like the new morph market. It was very hard for me to figure out. But I'm hoping that we get more of a return to the hobbyist breeder, and not everybody trying to become the full-time business breeder. I just think it's better for the hobby when someone has a small collection of stuff they're breeding, and they're breeding good stuff in small numbers, versus someone just breeding a ton of shit and throwing it out there.
I changed the view to just the United States from US and Canada, and it's only 47,639 ball pythons.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay. Just 47,000.
Only 2,000 in Canada.
Canada.
1,878 in Canada.
They can get their almost 2,000 ball pythons and their bagged milk.
There's 197 in Mexico.
So anyways, that I've noticed that with morph market. When we talked about I see a change in the hobby, and again, everybody complaining at shows not selling stuff. It depends on what you're selling. And again, it's always, I also think a lot of people aren't used to the way shows have been. It used to always be, some shows are good, some shows are bad. Not every show is a great show. It just can't be.
Right.
So
this weekend was an exception. There was a
the Ironman
triathlon literally in the same like complex where we were at. And there was, I think I looked it up. There was something like 20,000 people there for that or something. And they took all the parking spots, and Sean had worked it out with the venue where we had dedicated parking. But then on Saturday morning, they blocked that parking off and made it VIP parking for the Ironman, which sucked because our trailers were locked in there. When I went to go get my trailer on Sunday, they tried to stop me from driving in there. I'm like, I'm going right there and getting my trailer. I would not get in front of this truck. And the guy just looked at me. I was like, I got to have my trailer, man. It's 4:30 already. Yeah, it was 4:30 already.
And then Amanda said it rained on Sunday.
Rained all day Sunday, or all morning Sunday, because people were having to walk 6 to 12 blocks to get there.
Yeah,
which on Saturday they were doing, and it was a little warm, but it wasn't terrible. But on Sunday they just, it was just like a conglomeration of factors that kept people at home.
My dad says, I assume it's the same basic theory as puppy farms. If you are relying on breeding to make a living, you are susceptible to watering down your bloodline trying to feed the family. The problem is
reptile bloodlines don't dilute like
and I don't think breeding dogs is sold as the dream like it is in breeding snakes, right? Everyone we've seen so many people pop up at shows now that we've never seen before. And so many of them are selling their first snakes. It's not just like 1 or 2 selling their first snakes. You'll go to a show now and 10 tables will be people there for the very first time selling the first snakes ever. There's just too many of them. You can't do that. You've diluted the number of breeders at a show, therefore everyone can sell 1, whereas before the 10 breeders that were there would all sell 10.
But it by attrition, it's going to take care of itself.
Yes.
I'm already, hearing from so many. 6 months ago, I said, we're about to start seeing a bunch of collections coming up for sale. I've had this discussion, and sure enough, every day I get a message from somebody trying to sell a collection. Hey man, you know where I can get rid of all these snakes? Hey man, do you, I'm getting crazy amount of, do you buy racks back?
Yeah.
And of course I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy,
why would I try to sell my used rack when I sell a new one?
Right. What sucks though is that I think that's part though of what's hurting our business right now is I've seen innumerable amount of people that have contacted me to get pricing, and then I'll see them in the groups commenting on used stuff and buying it, which, hey, I don't more
can't blame. It's
I'm not buying used racks because I'm not putting my animals when I don't know what the hell you had in there or how your biosecurity was or anything like that. I'm just not doing it. And that's not just because I build racks, but I was like that before too. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Unless I know you. If I know you,
then
I
would buy a rack from James.
Yeah, if I know you and trust your collection.
Correct. Right. Like,
because
otherwise there's not enough bleach in the world.
It's gonna sound bad, but I know people that I still wouldn't take stuff out of their collection.
Yeah.
I can like them as a person, but maybe not trust everything that happens in their collection.
That makes sense.
We're not shitting on ball python breeders. Let me be very clear about that.
No, I'm not. I think though,
if you want to give it a go, give it a go.
Have at it. But I think the problem is for so long the python community has said, because they always shrug off at some point there's got to be a fall, right? And they always talk about how strong it still is. Strong it still is. I think we've finally reached that fall, and I think a lot of ball python breeders will not admit it, but yet they're going to go to a show and sell 1 or 2 snakes. Instead of when they used to sell 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 20 snakes, right? There's got to be something different there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. Yeah. And, I don't know. I don't want to say something and it be misconstrued.
What? In this hobby? No way.
It's insane, man.
Let me go through, do our herp shows real quick. So we got Robert in there. Let's get our herp shows, our other sponsor. Herp shows, Lafayette, Louisiana, November 5th and 6th. Katie and I will be there. We still have not figured out what time our football game is on Saturday.
No, and I called the school today and they still haven't set a time yet.
Wow.
I'm like, how am I supposed to buy tickets? They're like, well, we'll sell you tickets. And I'm like, but you've no freaking clue what time
do
the
I have to
game
be
is.
there?
Yeah.
So we'll be in Lafayette, Louisiana. Rachel will be there.
Rachel will be there.
With cages. I'll be helping out. We'll be throwing cages and racks at people. Come buy them. And hides. We'll have hides.
Mm-hmm.
Come get you a hide after I get mine for my snakes. Anyways, the Pearland Show, November 12th and 13th. Looking forward to the Pearland Show. Just because, again, as usual, I can sleep in my own bed. Austin, Texas, December 3rd and 4th. Slidell, December 10th and 11th. That's the last show of the year, the Slidell Show. So if you're looking for presents for Christmas or whatever, make it there. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma is January 14th and 15th. Longview, Texas, January 21st, 22nd. Back in Conroe, January 20th and 29th. Again, that's my birthday weekend. And then down to Corpus Christi, Texas.
29th?
What did I say?
You said 20th and 29th.
28th, 29th. Yeah. And then Corpus Christi, Texas, February 25th and 26th. We can go hang out and be cold on the beach. Because it was cold today. It felt amazing. I say cold.
Oh my gosh.
Cooler.
My third graders thought they were going to freeze to death.
They're going to really freeze tomorrow. It's supposed to be
They
cool
really
tomorrow.
are. I can't wait.
Supposed to be 44 in the morning.
I wore real shoes today and never got hot. It was great.
I'll be in shorts.
Yeah, I know. I won't be in shorts, but
this is what I wore to work today.
Or a t-shirt. So it's like what we got real quick. Douglas Ray White says he comes to see me. I know, Doug. That's the only reason you come to shows. It's because I'm there. I'm amazing.
I brought his wife a wiener last time.
I bet you did. I don't know who Facebook user is because people don't use their names when they sign in. They got to fix that. Too much supply, not enough demand right now. That is 100% the issue for certain species. Again, not all. Darren Watson said, I noticed my local pet shop carrying more diverse stuff the last few months. And that has kind of become a lot of, you go to like PetSmart now, they're trying to get a lot more diverse
I'm going
stuff.
spelunking tomorrow. That's Sean.
Is it Sean?
He's going with Greg to go do some mitigation study in a cave, and that's got a bunch of salamanders in it that he's super excited about.
That sounds cool.
So that's Sean.
Spelunking.
Yeah.
I just don't trust
like
a rope to carry me down.
He's so excited about it. He told me about it like 3 times this weekend. Yeah.
Are you going like
I'm
lowering
jealous.
down on a rope, or is it like walking down into a cave? Because walking down into a cave is fine. I'm not the smallest person, and being lowered down on a rope.
Yeah.
I don't trust the technology.
The fucking rope better be this big around. And there better be like
better be a steel cable.
Yeah.
Lower me down on a steel cable.
Holy crap. So Sam said that he thought he was going to freeze today. It's 43 degrees in North Alabama right now.
I've got to make sure that tortoise is back in Louisiana and get locked up tonight because it's in the 30s tonight.
What? I did not know it was getting that cold.
Yeah, my tortoises have to start being locked up every night.
He said it's crawling into a small hole into a large cavern.
Oh, I could do that.
Depends on how small the hole is.
So you're going to be crawling into a small hole?
I can get in small holes.
Yeah, this can be awesome. I'm hoping he gets to put some pictures up.
That's exciting.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's one of those things that almost nobody ever gets to do.
Old spelunking.
But he gets to go and be Greg's assistant.
So. I want to spelunk.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't want to do underwater spelunking.
You know, it's your dad talking about how cold it is. We had an above average summer, and then today was 15 degrees below average.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, come on.
At recess today, it was 62 degrees, and it was beautiful, sunny weather. And I was like, you're cold, go run. You'll warm up.
Sean, I don't know what a Native American midden is.
It's like where I'll let him explain it because I don't think I know either. I know, but I don't know how.
I saw it in your eyes when you're like, "It's
I don't know
shit,
how
I'm
to
not sure what it
like,
is."
I know what it is, but I don't want to sound stupid when I say it wrong.
That's funny.
Darren, your cold lasts about 6 hours. I
Yeah.
think one day this week it is supposed to be. It's like we wake up, it's 40, and then it's like
Thursday, the high is like back at 87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all gonna be sick.
We are.
Old burn and trash piles. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be some neat stuff in there.
Yeah.
That didn't burn all the way down. Some cool animal bones and stuff, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be neat. Also,
I feel like we're very
all over the place. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we haven't been together in a while.
I like it.
Also, if you want to save 15% on your VivTech light bulbs, which we need to get some, we need to go visit the herb store. Also, you can use code Gumbo22 to save 15% on your VivTech light bulbs or cameras or all the other million things that he has done. I'm going to get Ryan back on here soon so he can give us an updated list of things he has now started to make. But there's that. We don't have a sponsor for a giveaway. We didn't do one this month, but I would like to do a giveaway next month. So if anybody listening has an idea for what they would like to sponsor for a giveaway next month, reach out to us. Let us know. I'd like to do a giveaway for November. Give away a frozen turkey. I don't know. We'll give away something. This weekend, we have something big this weekend. We have you and I in the past have done a reptile day when we lived in Louisiana and we planned all that. And
I know our memory, one of my memories on Facebook today was when we took Joe to the news with us, and it was her first time ever on the news, and she was promoting that event in Louisiana.
Yeah, this reptile day has not been mine. I've helped a little bit here or there, not much. It has really been spearheaded by Megan. But
It's going to be an absolutely amazing event.
It's going to be this Saturday in Iowa Colony in Meridiana,
from 10 to 3.
From 10 to 3. We'll make sure to share that up on our page.
I mean, Spencer Green's coming and talking at the event. So, I mean, that right there should tell you something.
Same as how would you thaw the turkey and warm to feed? That's funny you say that. That was one of our questions today.
The high Saturday is 86, the low 73, so it should be comfortable.
That'd be nice. I shouldn't sweat my ass off. But yeah, listening to Dr. Spencer Green, you may have to come find me just sitting there listening to him talk. So tell me to get up and go work. What? Sam actually wrote on my Facebook post. Look at him being involved, an involved father. The question on Facebook, I asked several questions. This one was, why are my co-hosts staring at their phones while I'm talking to the microphone by myself?
I'm actually reading a very important post that was made.
Is it really important?
Yeah, Brian Holt is in remission.
Awesome.
It is very important.
For those that don't know Brian Holt, he lives in Alabama. He did Woma pythons for a while. Not Woma ball pythons, a stupid morph name for something that already exists. But yeah, he had cancer. He's in remission. That's great. That is great. So again, why? Ooh, no one corrected me all day on that. The fuck is wrong with all of you?
I haven't looked at it all day. I actually taught.
I apparently typed. I typed this while teaching. Why process do you? Why?
I didn't catch it either.
It should be what process do you use to thaw rodents for your snakes? And no one fucking fixed it. Y'all are horrible people.
I never looked at it. Although I just kept getting alerts for people commenting.
Sean said Chris Duncan gets his last results on the 25th.
That's awesome.
And we can all call. He's already had the scan and he's having to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that comes back great.
I've been there. It's not a fun 2 weeks.
But going through some of the things, and I'll talk about how I thaw out stuff. But Tony Doer, that's a lot of R's in a name, man. Doer, set it and forget it. He lets them sit out typically in the reptile room for hours as necessary to thaw. The process gets the scent into the room, and typically by feeding time, snakes are actively searching for a meal. What fucking Chrissy?
I think my face is as red as that pink shirt I had on all day.
Oh man, Chris said Katie looks like a sexy cheetah tonight, driving all the 11-year-old boys crazy all day.
I teach 8-year-olds. I teach 8-year-olds.
All right. Anyways, moving on to the question. Christian Parr said, depending on what I'm feeding, I usually put them in warm water. This is a constant one you're going to see show up, but I usually put them in warm water until they are warm. I like putting them in warm in water so that my snakes get a little more hydrated in the process. If I'm trying to get new snakes going, I like to let them out in the room for the rodents. I thought he was talking about leaving the new snakes out in the room for a little bit.
I mean, you don't just stick them in the microwave. That's not.
You should definitely microwave. You should definitely microwave your rodents. It gets them. Put it on a good a minute. They probably just need about a minute, and then get them ready. Brandon Milchamp up in Canada says, in Canada we've had lots of cases. I think it was 100 or so from rodents being improperly thawed and handled. Those people got salmonella poisoning.
Oh, why would you handle it?
Well, because what happened was they thawed it out, right, and then they handled it to feed their snake, and then when they went to go touch that bag of milk, it got where they were drinking from.
That's what tongs are for.
It's the bagged milk.
But
blame the bagged milk.
Do it.
James Bergoli says crock pot. I'm gonna go with no.
Let me tell your wife. Let me be the one to tell your wife that you're using a crock pot to thaw out.
Max Hicks says turn on the podcast because it's fire. Thanks, Max. Still didn't get eaten by that fucking bear though. Scott Borden says, I use the same exact method for over 20 years now with no problem. I set them out usually in the reptile room at room temp for 6 to 12 hours, depending on what size rodents. Then when I go to feed, I have a container of very warm, almost hot water that he dips them into for 30 to 60 seconds. The extra moisture is for hydration, like we mentioned before. And usually we'll take them out of them out to thaw before leaving for work and then feed when he gets home.
So I don't think it was our group. It may have actually been on my female herpers page that I'm a part of, but there's a woman who had, it was probably that page. She had like a mason jar because she only has like 1 or 2. So she would use that mason jar to thaw the Pinky, but she also uses the mason jars for her overnight oats. So she has this one that she uses just for the mice that has written all over with like Sharpie marker, like do not use for oats, snake only, used for thawing. It must be, I'll have to see if I can find that picture and see if she'll let me share it, but it was pretty funny.
Megan says she normally puts them in the fridge to thaw and then heat them up with warm water.
You don't use warm water anymore, do you?
No, I'll go over all the methods I've done since I got into the hobby. But Caroline Bush says, since I feed my ball medium rats, she's big. That is pretty big. I leave them in the fridge for 24 hours and then for 15 minutes soak in warm water before I feed. Daniel Cruz says fridge to thaw, then warm water. Most of the same thing as warm water, bucket of warm water. That's what we got over and over again. So I have done several things through the last 20 years of keeping snakes. There was a time period where I used to put them in a pot on the stove.
I used to hate when you would use the pot on the stove. It was my best pot.
No, it wasn't. It was only used for rodents.
It was awesome.
It was you never put food in that ever because that would have been gross. But I put them in a Ziploc bag in a pot and turn it on very low and a little more up that way. But the problem is if you let them go too long, they get mushy. And then having to clean mushy rat off of a very hungry snake is not fun. And so I quit doing that. And then I did, and it's what I still do now. I put them in the fridge. So I take everything I'm going to pull, put them in Ziploc bags, put them in the fridge for a day. The next day I take them out and then I set them out, come up to room temperature, and then I feed. I don't.
That's how we generally do it.
Yeah. I don't need to get anything hotter. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's species out there where a warmer food item probably does help. And if you're having issues getting something to eat, then yes, try and increase the temperature a little bit. You can use a hair dryer to heat.
I always like when people are like, my corn snake wouldn't eat. I think it was it wasn't hot enough. And I'm like, corn snakes don't have heat receptors. I don't think it matters.
You have been taking them out of your fridge and just leaving them in the garage because it's warmer in the garage, but
they're warm up in there. But I gotta
be able to do that here soon.
But I gotta get them out of there before the pinkies.
A couple weeks ago, Logan got out a bunch of pinkies and fuzzies and put them on the counter. And I got up the next morning and they were still on the counter. And he had put them out there at like noon. I'm like, yeah, we're not feeding those. That's just throw this money in the trash.
I hate that. That's why I always tell Katie when I pull things out and I put them in the garage. I'm like, guys, I need you to remind me because normally it'll be like every size rodent you can think of because I'm feeding the entire collection for some stupid reason. I do it. I keep saying I'm not going to feed the entire collection on one night and then I feed the entire collection on one night. But yeah, I just let it come up to room temperature and then feed them. But again, a hair dryer will heat things up if you need it to be a little bit warmer. If you want it to appear warmer, you can dunk it in warm water, like Scott Borden said. You can do that. So that is one way. I've never done the water. The thing I hate about wet food is that I feed a lot of stuff on aspen, and then the wet mice get a lot of aspen stuck to them because I use that thinner aspen, the really shredded stuff. And so like all my Sambos are on that, and it gets on them. And I just try not to get on there.
Totally random.
Sorry, go ahead.
Never mind. I'll ask you after the podcast.
Okay.
Tom Crutchfield posted a picture of how many of you can ID this extremely rare python. It's an Owen Pelly. So Keith McPeak posts a picture of him holding one. He said, "Can I play?"
Funny.
Oh, gotta love Keith McPeak. I need to listen to. I'm sure I've been doing poor job of listening to Reptile podcasts lately. And I need to listen to more of their Boa podcast.
Here you go, Katie. I don't know if it's like this in your house, but my wife makes us put $5 in the find jar every time we make her find something we can't locate in the house.
Fuck yes.
After 13 months of saving today, we're buying a brand new Ford Explorer.
We are for real. Shit, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I was looking for spaghetti earlier because I was cooking dinner and I'm like, Rich, I cannot find this freaking spaghetti. She said, it's the blue box right in front of your face. And I'm like, it wasn't there the whole time. Just grabbed it and walked off. Yeah,
that's funny.
I did. So that was it for the warming. Again, there's tons of ways you can do it. Don't microwave them, please. Just don't microwave them.
I've seen photos and it's not pretty.
I can't imagine that smell.
Every frozen rodent breeder has that on like their FAQ page. Like, don't do that. So I did ask. This is just a fun one because we will not be on before Halloween because next week we're going to do some pre-recorded stuff from Conroe.
Oh, we are?
We're not. Yeah.
Cool.
So we got that weekend off.
I get another week off.
Yep. That's going to be
Girl Scouts.
The interview with Jules is going to be on there. So Dax can get off my back. I'm just kidding. I've been looking forward to getting that one out.
Yeah.
That's a good
one.
And
unfortunately, I missed most of that one because I had to go.
We're helping a customer.
I was helping a customer. So Taylor sat down.
Yeah. So we had Taylor.
Which we'd like to send our condolences to Taylor and Dax because Taylor's father passed away this weekend. And sounds like it was sudden.
That's what it seemed like.
So yeah, that's super sad because I know they were pretty close.
Yeah.
Rachel had a cousin of hers that he had got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 2.5 years ago, and they told him 4 to 6 months.
Ooh. And
they didn't know him. He fought it. His obituary today is him wearing a shirt that said "proud owner of a non-functioning pancreas."
Oh my God.
He used to wear shirts like that all the time.
So anybody out there that's listening, let me ask you this. Do you have a hard time knowing what to say when someone tells you someone dies? I'm not good. Like, I'm sorry just never feels like,
yeah. It's like, why are you sorry?
I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
My condolences.
Yeah, but I don't know. That feels personal.
So my cardiologist actually said something to me yesterday at my appointment. Because he was asking if we had any stress in our life recently. And I was like, well, a few months ago, my sister-in-law just very randomly passed away. And he said, my heart goes out to you. And I was like, that's a fabulous response. As someone who has dealt, with death way more in her life than your average individual, I was like, that may be the best response I've ever heard anyone say to me was my heart goes out to you. And,
I honestly,
but for those of you who are wondering, I got a phenomenal report from my cardiologist. So I was pretty pumped.
I haven't had a lot of people in my family die that I've had to deal with. Like that's I mean, that's a good thing. Or it's just all going to add up at one time. And then
that's what happened to
me.
They didn't start dying until I was like 38. I'd say that. My dad's parents, one died when I was 25, one died when I was 30.
Okay. If my dad's listening, I need you to go ahead and get that adoption paperwork figured out before you die. I just know you're getting old.
My other two grandparents passed away 13 days apart. And then it was like
my grandparents were 6 months apart.
Uncle. And then it was like cousin, friend.
Every single year for 10 years of my life, it was somebody. It started with my brother and ended with my dad.
And close to me, let's see.
So my brother passed away when I was 14.
Yeah.
But I was first week of freshman year, and he was 12, and that was.
I also don't do funerals.
I don't think anybody does.
No, but I try my hardest to not go to them.
Yeah, we came to Kayla's, and that was a little awkward because literally the only people we knew there were you guys and.
Don't worry, it was awkward for me.
That's it. Yeah, because Kayla was the one you would always hang out with at family functions because you guys got along so well.
She's the person I would have stood next to and made fun of all of our families together.
Right. Which you and I did. You did it with me. I was Kayla's surrogate, even though I knew nobody. Well, your one brother.
I mean, that's okay. I had to stand at one point and block the view because I have an uncle who has a fake leg, and apparently when he stood up, it started falling off. And so my aunt was like, "Oh, I need you to stand here so he can fix his leg," and I'm like, "What do I
do?" So the only the first real death I dealt with my grandmother died. The one on one side of the family that I don't talk to anymore, but my grandmother died. And I had just seen her. It was a weird thing. It was one of those I had a dream she was going to die.
This took a twist, by the way.
It did. We'll get back to those. But I had a dream she was going to die, and it really it's one of the first times I ever woke up crying. I was in high school. It was the weirdest thing. And so my mom's like, "You want to go visit her?" And so we did. It was Mother's Day weekend. We drove up there. It was 7 hours or whatever. We went. We visited her for the day, spent the night, drove back home, and then she passed a week later. And it was either go to the funeral. This could sound heartless, but it's not. It was either go to the funeral or go to the SEC baseball tournament in Birmingham, Alabama. And we had tickets to the tournament. And I was like, well, I saw her alive.
Right.
What good am I going to do seeing her? Why would I go stand and cry at a box going to the ground? So we went to baseball.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to the funeral. Man, and I don't regret not going to the funeral.
We took a left turn.
We did.
I'm going to talk about something to do with animals, not necessarily reptiles. But did you see these two wrestlers from some college in Wyoming were out shed antler hunting?
Yeah.
And there were a thick spot in the trail, and they apparently walked up on a mother grizzly with cubs.
Oh, fuck.
And she was on them. They both had bear spray, but
God.
They said it was less than a second, and she was on the one. The other one fucking fought the bear off of his buddy. Grabbed her by the ears, gouged her in the eyes, and got the freaking bear off of buddy. Yeah.
Best friend ever.
I mean, it fucked the one dude up pretty bad. His face all messed up. The other guy, he got bites.
He would have died.
He got bites on his hands and stuff when he
would have died.
That's have you ever seen the guy that does the little short videos on Facebook or YouTube of how you would handle a situation? And they're always ridiculous. How you would handle if a bear attacks you. and it ends up being like you go up to the bear, you get it in a neck hold, and then he like goes through all wrestling moves, and then you drop a shoulder or an elbow on it, and then like he goes, it's simple. I can't believe I had to tell you that.
So you can feel the teeth on his skull.
Oh no,
Mm.
no.
No,
Can we talk about the video that Douglas Ray White shared
Oh, the bull.
with the bull?
Did you see this? Did you watch it to the end?
Yes, and then it fell off the top of the car.
So for anybody that didn't see this video, it was this like roided up gym bull. Like this thing was like it was around to kill somebody,
and
it chases
this guy,
this fat guy through a field while everybody's watching.
Literally thought this man was like dead in the field.
Yeah.
Well, they chase him, and then it gets him on the ground, starts beating him up, and these cars pull up, and the bull turns to attack the car. The guy magically gets off the ground. He's not dead. He goes to try and climb on the hood of the car. Can't do it. Can't figure it out. He's too fat. Then he runs around to the other side. Somehow gets all the way up on top of this SUV, and he's safe. And then the SUV drives off, and he tumbles right off the top and back onto the ground.
He can't win for trying.
It's great.
And he hit the ground hard, on his back.
Well, like, why did you not just get in the car? You were already on the other side.
Hold on to like the luggage racks on top of the car.
So many other things you could have done besides just try to, I don't know, feel like a surf ninja up there.
I'm in this group called Yellowstone National Park Invasion of the Idiots trademark. And it's nothing but they call them Taurons.
Oh yeah,
the
ones that want to go up there and pet a bison.
Yeah, or a bear.
Yeah. Those people are dumb. Well, there was a video recently of the guy with the cougar coming at him, and he's got a gun, and then like he shot like a stormtrooper because he didn't come close to hitting that fucking cat.
Yeah,
that cat's coming at him multiple times, and he's just like,
apparently he was packing out an elk or something.
I mean, my thing was, first off, I love nature, but I know like that grizzly bear closed that ground in no time. I know that the cougar wants to.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting to me before my mind can go, oh, here it comes.
Yeah.
Now let me shoot.
Yeah.
So the moment it tries, I'm shooting the fucking cat.
Yeah.
It's getting a bullet. I'm not risking that.
Here's one. This person said they work at a hotel in Bozeman, Montana, and they had someone come up to the front desk and say, what time of the morning do they let the bears out of the mountains so you can get your photos taken with one?
Yogi will be down at about 9:30.
Yeah.
Pack your picnic basket.
Picnic.
Oh my God. It's just
people are dumb. Just fucking dumb. So I also asked, because again, we won't be on before Halloween. I asked what was your favorite Halloween or your favorite movie to watch. I originally asked what was your favorite Halloween movie, and I didn't want people to start listing their favorite Michael Myers movie. So I was like, I should probably ask my favorite movie to watch at Halloween time. Luke Stratford from last week said, what's Halloween? I don't know. You also don't have all the Pop-Tarts or corn dogs over there. So I'm just going to go Halloween is awesome.
Candy. It's an excuse for candy.
And it's awesome.
Yep.
You can probably get corn dogs too. Chris Hubley said Rocky Horror because it's fun. Love to sing in the sassy strut dancing. I'm sexy. I don't know what he's
supposed to be
that.
Sexy.
Yeah.
You can't type that on Facebook sometimes.
Sexy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking Facebook.
They're protecting us from ourselves.
Danielle
Our
Cruz.
child loves the music from Rocky Horror Picture
Don't let her watch it.
She's not old enough yet to watch it yet.
Bye, Sean.
Here's someone who tried to ride a bison.
Well, that's smart. That's going to end well. I don't see what could go wrong there.
No.
Okay, I'm going to pause on this. Did you see my idea for a new TV show?
No.
So I've got a great idea for a new TV show because my dad had posted a picture.
All thanks to his dad.
He posted a picture of these two hyenas covered in blood from eating, and it says, vegans, I don't eat meat because I respect nature. And then it's like nature, and it's these two hyenas covered in blood. So I've got an idea for a TV show that I think everybody will love. And I don't see where anything can go wrong. We have vegans, and their job is to go up to predatory animals and convince them to be vegans. So they just walk up to a lion, convince the lion to be a vegan, walk up to a crocodile, convince it to be a vegan, swim on up to a shark, convince it to be a vegan. And I don't know where the show could go poorly. I think the ratings would be amazing.
Yeah.
And it solves our vegan problem.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with vegans, but
I do.
I don't like it when Joe Rogan has a bit about vegans.
You don't like it when they try to shove it down your throat.
Right.
Whoa.
Joe Rogan says
shoving?
He's like, vegans and pilots. When you meet them, it's like they're holding their breath. I'm a vegan. Like they have to tell you, like at the beginning of the thing. He has, of course, his like comedic timing is perfect and it's hilarious the way he does it. But yeah, I don't understand why you want to push something that doesn't affect you on other people. Like, doesn't
That's how I feel about religion.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about politics.
I also just I find evolutionarily, I find the argument ridiculous. We're meant to eat meat. Our closest living relative hunts down monkeys and eats them. Like,
yeah, go follow a freaking troop of chimpanzees around.
So vegans could go convince them to be vegans also.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Daniel Cruz says Nightmare Before Christmas. That's one of our daughter's favorites.
She watches it at Halloween and Christmas.
Did you see mine?
I haven't got to get Sweeney Todd. I think I've only watched Sweeney Todd once. And
I was going to say, it's been a hot minute.
Like,
He's Captain Jack Sparrow in everything he does. And
really
that was my issue with Sweeney Todd.
I like Joshua Stover's Ernest Scared Stupid. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in forever. I remember as a kid watching Ernest movies and fucking loving them.
We watched Ernest Saves Christmas with Joe like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. That's a good one.
She liked it.
Megan said Nightmare Before Christmas. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's a great one. Beetlejuice, which is probably my favorite, and my daughter has become obsessed with it too. Yeah. I love Beetlejuice. As a kid, I made my mom rent it like every week. We didn't buy it.
Own it. They weren't allowed to buy it. They had
there
to
used to be these buildings,
the video store.
Well, there used to be these buildings you'd go to that had movies in them, and then you'd give them money, and they'd let you take the movie home.
We have some older listeners,
and then you could watch
know
them.
what rental stores are.
Some aren't though. Corpse Bride. I've never been a big Corpse Bride fan. And Coraline, I've never actually seen Coraline.
Scares it is creepy as shit, and the book is way worse.
Really, I don't read, so it wouldn't matter. Isaac Kyle said Nightmare Before Christmas for the songs and Harry Potter for the magical fantasy feel. If that's not the weirdest thing posted today. Kate Higgs said The Crow.
There's worse.
The Crow. I don't know if I've ever watched all of The Crow.
The first one, or like all of them, because there's multiples.
I want that hoodie. It says "Don't pet the fluffy cows," and it has a bison on it.
So, what do you want to explain the one you posted?
Yeah, Hubie Halloween. It's great. Have you seen it?
I've never seen it.
It's Adam Sandler. He came out, I think, 2 years ago at Halloween.
Really?
It's basically a sequel to The Waterboy.
Really?
Like he is playing.
How did I miss this?
He's playing like that same Bobby Boucher type.
It's probably
character.
on Netflix, isn't it?
It is, and it is.
They love him on
hilarious.
My dad said Cool Hand Luke because it's the best movie ever made. And my entertainment, it's not driven by the season. Very close second goes to Shawshank Redemption.
I've never
2 great Halloween movies.
I love Shawshank Redemption. I've never seen Cool Hand Luke.
And Selena said Practical Magic.
Love Practical Magic.
I had a feeling before I asked what movie that was that was Practical Magic, but I couldn't remember it was that. And then I kept thinking Mystic Pizza, which I knew had nothing to do with it at all. But I was like, those are both vagina movies, and I don't know.
Man banned from Yellowstone after getting caught cooking chicken in the hot springs.
He's just trying to be conscious, like of nature. He doesn't want to burn gas.
Let me go to this super acidic alkaline water and that dissolves people when they fall.
But I bet that chicken got cooked quick.
I bet it did.
It was done fast. It probably wasn't dry.
That's so gross.
Other questions. So this is a good one.
No.
What?
I thought there was a really not pleasant. Did you just opt not to talk about it?
Where?
I thought one of the responses for that.
I didn't see one that was
deleted.
I think I deleted a post at some point today. I think that was it. I deleted that. Yeah, I deleted that.
Okay.
Did it have to do with the question, or was it a scam, like a spam thing?
No, it had to do with the question. They just were being funny, and
it was
because we're somewhat. I mean, I know I say fuck a lot, but I took it off there. Had to do with a cup.
And a video that I don't even know you can still find.
So I deleted it because.
Okay. I was like, wait.
I'm all for stupid humor, but this one was good. What responsibility does a pet store owner / employee or breeder have during an animal sale? I wish I should have read this one first when we had Sean on.
Yeah,
and what
was great.
Yeah, and what responsibility does the buyer have during an animal sale? Because we have several friends that own pet stores, and not just pet. I did go back and change it to breeders because we have a lot of friends that are breeders, and it also applies to them too. You're still responsible if you produce an animal, you are somewhat responsible for where that animal goes. I mean, that's on you. So. Let's go ahead and read Amanda Reddy, who was in here earlier. Let's read hers. She said, breeder, education to the new owner about their new pet, enclosures, etc., information on said animal, feedings. We give all buyers our full care sheet along with answering any questions they have. There is no such thing as a dumb question. Sorry, Amanda, I'm going to disagree. As a high school teacher, I promise you there are dumb questions. I promise you. Like when you have just read the instructions, just read what to do. And the very first hand, not even 5 seconds later, what are we doing? That's a dumb question.
And you really don't say, ask a friend?
No, I just tell them it's a dumb question. Figure it out.
No. I look at mine. I'm like, oh, you should ask your neighbor.
Or like today when I had the instructions on what to do on the board, word for word, and the kid asked me, so what are we supposed to do? And I just stared at the board. Said nothing to the kid. Just stared at the board until they figured it out.
I make them read it to me.
I make
so
them
that
feel,
I can make sure.
I'm the best teacher in the world. I make them feel stupid. So this is anti-bullying month, right? And so we have all this anti-bullying stuff. I tell my kids all the time, don't be a bully. That's my job. And they're not going to be better at it. So anyways, I get where Amanda's going. No dumb question with our dumb questions. Lifetime contact support, and we will help in any way we can, which I can say I've sat at a show where I could see the Reddies, and man, they will talk to anyone about the animals for as long as they want to listen, and it's great. They will give them every bit of information.
Yep.
They're wonderful people to buy from. Amanda says, for the buyer, if I was buying an animal, I look for clear, open eyes, clean vent, clear, clean mouth and nose, body structure, alertness. Then I will look for a pattern and colors I'm interested in. As a buyer, always ask questions. Yes, as an educated buyer, that is what you should do. But we do know that people go to a show and they buy things just purely off of sometimes a whim or what they want. They don't care about anything. They don't think about, is this thing sick? Because we've seen it. We've seen people walk around with that iguana in a deli cup going, oh man, that iguana is not going to make it. That thing looks rough. Whereas they could have probably gone to a booth somewhere else, paid an extra $50, got one that was probably going to be much easier to take care of. So yeah, that is on research is a big thing. That is on them.
I will say that thanks to Brian Lovins and Carl Vargas, my wife is now obsessed with pectinatas.
Yeah.
They're
cool. They're cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, she walked around with the Carl's mail in her jacket Saturday morning. That was the other thing this weekend. The venue had issues with their HVAC system. Saturday morning, it was kind of cold. So Sean asked them to turn it up, and they do it by a computer, and they turned it up 1 degree. And within an hour, it was like 85 in there.
Jeez.
So then they turned it back down towards the end of the day. When we got there Sunday morning, it was 63 degrees in there, but it was set on 74.
That's so weird.
So
it was probably set on like 74 air.
Yeah.
And not heat.
So it was freaking freezing in there all day Saturday. But so Rachel was walking around with that one under her jacket, trying to help him warm up all day, and was just in love with that thing.
Oh, I forgot to post these questions over in the group as well. So I gotta make sure I read some of those responses as well. That's where Sean's was. So I don't want to make sure I don't miss that one. Also, some of the responses for this was Richard Valdez says, as a breeder, I provide updates on the animals up until the day it's shipped. I provide pictures of their growth and weight and pictures of the parents and all the potential genes involved. Answer all questions they may have, even after the sale. As a buyer, it's my job to pick up the animal as early as possible and to be home when the animal is being delivered. I've heard some just nightmare stories of like people shipping to a hub and the person just being, yeah, I'll go get it in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
It's not how that fucking works. I always respect a breeder that when they ship something to me, their thing is, they constantly like, did you get it yet? Or send me a picture or send me a text as soon as you get it. They want to know when you got it. They didn't ship it off and then done. They didn't just say, I'm done with this animal. So that's important. Daniel Cruz says, as a seller, they have responsibility to make sure that the person buying the animal knows what they're doing with the species, which is true. And the buyer, they need to vet the breeder or store to make sure it's a reputable source, and they need to make sure they can handle whatever species it is, which doesn't tend to happen often, unfortunately. So I want to read Sean's. So Sean Gray, who has the Herp shows and has the Herp reptile store shop, says employees should be able to ask qualifying questions to determine whether or not a customer is ready to purchase the animal they're looking at. Since we are in a college town, because they're in Bryan College Station area, the one question we always ask is if they live in a dorm or apartment. We will immediately dissuade those customers from purchasing animals that require large spaces. Also, what their schedule and travel habits are. Do they have someone that can take care of the animal when they're away? Do they already have a vet, etc.? As a customer, they should either come in with at least some research done or willing to wait until they can do more research. My staff is excellent at making sure everyone walks in informed of every animal's care requirements for the life of the animal. We want to set their expectations to a realistic level so that they can have great experience, whether a seasoned keeper or a first timer. So yes, it is important. If we've been around people that sell animals, whether it's a breeder or a pet store, that sell them as commodities or sell them as widgets and not animals. So their number one goal is to make money. And don't get me wrong, in a business, the goal is to make money. That's a business. But it's a little bit different when that business is selling a living thing, right? So you kind of have to be in the business of making money, but also being in the business of doing things right by the animal. So it is important to ask those questions and not just when someone walks in try and sell them whatever they want. Because I've definitely been in pet stores where they will sell you whatever you want without any questions. They're just there to make money. So definitely vet your store. Scott Borden said you should add breeders. That's why I added breeders. Lots of folks like to point fingers at the pet stores for not vetting potential buyers, and the next day selling animals at a show doing exactly the same thing. Then we will ask how it's so easy for hots, crocodilians, large snakes, and lizards to end up in the wrong hands, and in turn on the news eventually, which is true, 100% true. Dax said, yep, we had vetted people before that they've sold. I know I've talked to Dax about this before. They've turned down sales. I know a lot of people that breed certain things will turn down sales. We talked about some this weekend that you were near, that people came up to buy something and he said no. He could have made the sale right then. And the way the guy said, I'm going to throw him into a glass tank, which would not have fit for the species. And he said no. And so that's what should happen. If you can't afford to say no, then you can't afford to breed that animal.
That's right. Or, my favorite one is they go buy a snake and then they come over to me. What's the cheapest enclosure you have? I'm like, it's not because I want to sell a more expensive enclosure. It's because you're already cheaping out on the other things that need to go with that animal.
Yeah.
So that tells me you're going to buy a cheap thermostat. You're probably, it's just, I always tell them it's a life. It's not a rock.
And I get the trying to save money. I totally get that. But when, I hate when people walk into a reptile show and they go, at $200. All right. Well, no, you've already lost. You've walked in with, I've got this much and you're going to do your best. You're playing prices right at this point. You're trying to be the closest without going over.
Yep.
That is your goal. And you're not actually paying attention to what you really need.
I mean, back before I did, a lot of, I had this business, I walked into a show on a budget, but if I couldn't find everything I needed in that budget, I just wasn't getting anything.
Correct.
And that's, how we did it.
Yeah.
Of course, Jack and Heidi, Jack especially, would be like, oh, well, how about you give me half now and half next month? And I'm like, son of a bitch. Or how about you give me half now and then you donate the other half to JT? That's how I got us on one of them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That was like probably the last Conroe I went to before I was a vendor. And which worked out. Yeah, because it was when JT's house burned. So that was the last one. That's the last Conroe that I didn't vend. So we had started vending. Yeah, we had started vending, but didn't get into that first Conroe. That's what it was. And now I'm by the front door.
So with this question, it arose from several people in our group and their questions, and they asked, but there's got to be more on a pet store owner and a breeder than just this is what it is and then you're done. Like you need, especially if you're a breeder, you should want someone to reach back out to you. I would love for people that I sold boas to reach back out to me and show me what it looks like now.
Yeah,
I would love for it. I don't know if it'll happen. I've had it happen like once or twice, but I sold a lot of boas a year or two ago, and I'm breeding one of those babies this year, the male this year. I'd love to see how his siblings look, and I know there's several of them out there.
Rachel had a lady she sold a snake to at maybe September Conroe last year or June. One of the two Conroes last year. It was the last one that I was in the very back, and that lady sends her a picture like every month.
So that's cool.
Yeah,
that wouldn't bother me. Send me all the pictures you want to of the animal.
Yep.
I mean, because just like we talk with reviews, you don't tend to see positive reviews, you tend to see negative reviews. So if you sell enough animals, you tend to see the ones that someone didn't take care of and they're complaining about your sick animal, not the tons of them that are showing you the nice ones.
Yep.
That where we moved you. I feel like that's grammatically not correct. I'm assuming that you being up near the front. And Conroe.
I mean, the show that I moved at as the show was opening was at Temple this year. That was when Sean came. You want to move to the front? Because VPI's van broke down on the way there.
Oof.
Yeah, like on the way to the show.
That's rough.
And but yeah, they I was on that back row.
Yeah.
You know, for like 3 or 4 or 5 shows. My very first one, I was in the corner over by Andy. And is that when we moved from the front to the back?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
And then I moved to the middle back over by all the venomous stuff. And then now I'm right up front, which I like.
Yeah.
I like that spot a lot. It's not the easiest to merchandise.
But you're right there when they walk in.
But I like it because it's
easy to load out.
Yeah.
Amanda says she loves to see pictures of their babies because they change colors with every shed. Yeah, the only problem with that is like if you're talking about like having holdbacks and then you sell some and then you see them and they look better than what you held back, that would suck. Because then you're like, oh shit, why did I sell that? What did Darren say? It was up there. Hold on 1 second. Oh, that was Dax. That's who that was. Dax.
Yeah, that was Temple where they held. Yeah, that's Temple where y'all helped us move and we were by you guys. Yeah, that was Temple Easter this last year.
Darren said he reached out to breeders he's purchased from on the anniversary of the purchase for the first 2 years.
That's cool.
Which would be awesome. Amanda said, "Oh, that doesn't happen to us. They don't have these. Must be nice. I'm very worried about. So I've got. Look, so talking about breeding. Let me go ahead and talk about. I didn't mention this breeding stuff last week. So let me mention the breeding that I've had going on with my boas in the last 2 weeks.
We did mention the one guy that can't seem to figure out.
No, we didn't. I didn't talk about him.
Didn't we talked about him after the podcast? I
think so.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because we talked about him at some point.
So I've got boas that I'm breeding this year, several different morphs, but I have one male that I put with a female and they were breeding, and then I had another female. So I took a younger male that he's still of size, and I put him in there with her, and he just wasn't. He would lay on top, but he really wasn't doing much. And so I put the other male that had been breeding in there with them to think, all right, these 2 males, maybe one of them get it done. And the second male went straight to breeding. The first male was like, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. And so he started trying to breed the middle of the body. And I was like, hey, he's in the mood. I moved him in with a third female who I didn't plan on breeding, but if it worked, it worked. And he just, for 2 weeks, was so fucking clueless. At one point, I walk in and he is straight up fucking her neck. He's got tail.
I've seen pictures because you were sending them.
Yeah, he's got the tail.
Yeah. I hear about it all the time.
Wrapped around her neck like you would around the tail when you're breeding, and just straight up going to town on her neck.
At one point, I was told, hey, let's try to limit how many times we go in the closet in case that's what's bothering him. And I'm like, motherfucker, all my stuff's in that closet.
And you better move in the dark.
So
move in the dark and move slowly. But in the last week, he has finally figured out where the cloaca is located. And I have seen several attempts. At least, I don't know if he's gotten it in, but he's at least been in the right area. He is no longer fucking her throat, which is, I mean, that can be taken 2 different ways. One way is good, but this was not the good way. This was not the good throat fucking. So yeah, that has been fun. So if everything goes well, I will have 3 boas pregnant on top of a handful of sand boas. So it could be a good year. I'll have to buy some racks.
They're releasing a Christmas Story sequel in December, and Ralphie is an adult.
Yeah. They've been doing that for a while.
I thought you saw that already.
No,
but Katie. So
that movie.
I hope it's good.
Katie had an idea that I think is a really good idea. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 2 or 3 racks from you.
Yes.
And they're going to go in here.
The podcast room is going to become quarantine, which means I get my closet back.
That's smart.
But the babies, that way, when they go from here to shows and they go back into here, they never actually go back into the snake room.
I like that.
Great.
So there will be racks behind us at some point on this wall with baby snakes in them. So they go from shows to here and never actually go in the snake room.
Well, you know, I've got 2. I've got one. One of them spoken for today. That 40 tub that holds FB5s or to hold V15s or V18s.
Do I need to hold V35s too?
I don't. It might hold 35s or 35 shorts.
35 shorts.
I'll have to measure it.
And depth is the issue. It's from and then I think that's it for all the questions. I think I went over all. I asked several people what they would like us to talk about, and so a couple of them we can't. One was aimed at Jay Brewer. We'll pass that one. Jason Milaradovich, sorry, Jason, says, do you agree or disagree with the position of the Reptile Gumbo podcast host on his take on the locality boas aren't cool? Explain your answer and why James is wrong. I've never said they're not cool. They just don't fit what I like in a boa. So
bottom line is he doesn't like them.
I don't dislike them. Just don't like them. but I like my fancy morphs.
I mean, you don't discriminate. You hate everyone equally, so it's totally
That is
fine,
true.
right?
That is true. I do hate. I definitely dislike. I don't hate. Hate is strong and takes effort. I dislike more people than I like, but I feel like that's most people.
Mhm.
If you don't dislike more people than you like, then you haven't met enough people.
Or
No, just meet a lot of people. You'll realize that a lot of them suck.
Own your own business is retail based. I have some awesome customers, but man, I have some that are just, they don't read the FAQs. They don't read the terms and conditions. They don't read.
That's just in general. Like I just talked about, the kids asking me what to do when the instructions were on the board that I had just read to them.
Yeah.
Right. It's an ongoing thing, and I can only tell you it's going to get worse.
I've literally had someone today send me a screenshot from the website. How much is this?
The
You can see the price in the screenshot.
I
So I just edit, circled,
and send it back.
Okay, thank you.
This person asked if we talk about the recent trend of keepers keeping everything they should in bioactive. Yeah. So their point here was not everything is set up to be in bioactive, and I think a lot of it also species wise. There's we talked about rosy boas, and I think yes, if someone's idea of a bioactive enclosure is what they see when they look at dart frog people or something like that, and they go, "Awesome, I want to do that for my rosy boa." That's not where they're from. They're not a jungle snake. So yes, that is not the case. Now, I'm sure there is some scale way you can do a bioactive desert. I know there's people out there go, I have one. Yes, there are plenty of ways to do a bioactive desert cage. And you definitely could do that for something like a rosy boa.
Well, the register stand at the herb shop is bioactive, I believe.
Yeah.
At the Bio Dude, he has one with Ackies in it that's bioactive, but he's the Bio Dude, so you expect that.
And again, I think it's a matter of educating yourself on the different things about bioactive. So there's so many different ideas. Like this one person talks about just throwing bugs in the cage is not bioactive, which is true. It's not. It will help them eat the poop, but it is not bioactive, right? I've got my tortoises on soil with isopods. That's not a bioactive enclosure. I just have isopods in there to eat tortoise poop so that it doesn't fill up with tortoise poop.
Yep, same here.
But so yeah, there's definitely ways to do it. You just got to do the research, and people, we just talked about people not liking to read. That's another problem. I did share a video today I got from Luke over at Lizard Morphs. He hatched twins. Did you see that?
did.
Twin bearded dragons.
It looks
That's
so cool.
Cool twin bearded dragons. That was neat. Over on our discussion page, Brian McDowell posted this thing where a guy attempted to smuggle a Singapore-bound albino alligator in a suitcase.
Saw that.
That's like
wrapped in plastic with just the nose holes cut out.
Yeah. Like they weren't going to x-ray that and go, well, that looks different. We talked about Reptile Day. Oh, I got a new snake. I got a Calabar burrowing boa. If you've heard burrowing python, that's the way they used to be called, but they are a boa. It's a cool little guy. He's actually, y'all can't see him, but he's over there next to Katie now because Katie's corn snake is now in her classroom. So we've changed it out for.
Has your principal figured it out yet?
Don't think so. My kids, like, I swear, bless them, they're trying so hard. But like, because my windows are open because I have glass tanks in front of them for people to walk by to see like the box turtle and the frog and stuff like that. And so they'll be like, Mr. Nieto's coming. And I'm like, guys, can we be any more aware of what is happening in our situation? But I mean, like, he was in my room for 15 minutes today, and I genuinely don't think he's even aware that I have a new cage behind my desk.
Yeah, if you wait and get enough cages, they just don't notice when you have
They
more.
really don't, because
It's worked for snakes.
are you talking about me not noticing when you get more snakes? So we've got the guinea pig, we've got 3 glass tanks in the window, we've got the corn snake, we've got a crested gecko,
Leopard gecko,
and the fat tail gecko. So I've got 7 cages in my room now.
James will have some cages pretty soon for his.
cool.
Very soon.
Cool. I'm excited. I've already got a carpet python downstairs that hates me. That'll look great in them.
Our fabulous janitor today, she's so funny. She was her English is not the best, so we have very small conversations when we converse. But apparently when she was in my room over the weekend, my guinea pig was very unhappy. So
chirping away.
She was like, I gave her more food. Is that okay? And I was like, well, it was from her bag, right? And she was like, yes. I was like,
fed her the lizard.
Totally fine. I was like, she's very spoiled. It's okay.
I do have so far. I do have a jungle carpet python to put in our zoo at my school from Drew over at the Learning Zoo, and I'm getting emerald tree skinks from Brittany Reed over at Reed's Racks.
That's cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have some really cool stuff, but I'm pretty sure my box turtle might be my favorite thing I have.
Box turtles are cool.
She's amazing. The kids adore her. Like
they're cool, and you get to feed them worms.
It's just great.
Speaking of turtles, did you see the video of them releasing 300 baby? Oh shit! How did I forget? Terrapins, Diamondback terrapins. That's over on the discussion page.
Oh,
who was that shared that? Victor shared that. That was a great one. He also did a photo dump of a bunch of his tangerine Honduran hatchlings. So don't let your son see that because they look amazing.
What's her name? Brandy, that does the
O'Quinn
that does the rescue.
Oh no,
Nickerson.
Sure.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Mario and Brandy. Anyway, she was with Sean and I at dinner the other night. We were all kind of standing around talking, and she was showing him a Diamondback terrapin that they just took into the rescue because some guy ordered it off a website and had it shipped to Texas, even though on their website it says we do not ship these to Texas. And
we can't own alligators.
I guess somebody found out, game wardens found out, and she ended up with it. And Sean's like, "Can I foster it?" And she was like, "No." Can I foster it? No. Can I foster it forever? No, because he wants one so bad.
How much will it cost to do the paperwork to foster it?
Right.
We will make it happen.
I also posted this video, and I've seen another one since then. A big boy from Outcast with his owls. He's a falconer. He has owls. That's cool. I'm trying to see what else. Oh, we think we have figured out. You posted about a science fair project for our daughter. We're waiting for it to get okayed.
Yeah, so I posted on the Herps vendor page, and I think I posted on our discussion page.
That's where I read it.
And so we had a handful of people come up with some really, I thought were cool things. She thought some of them were really neat. So, and some others, she was like, that's too plain.
So what we settled on is, and it's got to get okayed. And I think it will honestly a problem. We're going to do one with dairy cow isopods. We are going to do a comparison of commercially available isopod foods. So see which one allows for the largest increase in biomass of dairy cow isopods over a period of 2 months.
And she's even talking about like creating her own food to see if that's better than commercial, and
try to see if she can make her own food. And I told her to make your own food and it works better. You can always sell that.
You've got the research to back it. Yeah.
So that is our goal. We're going to hopefully in the next week or two be setting that up and doing a cool science fair project. I did one with lizards when I was in middle school. I made it all the way to state. I raised green anoles on 3 different diets to see which one allowed green anoles to get. It was one that was all protein, one that was protein and vegetables, and one that was just vegetables. And no surprise, the protein, they did better on that. And then you did one where you tortured a tarantula.
I did not torture.
We've talked about it before, I think, on here.
Anything. No animals were tortured.
Y'all, okay.
I built. You shut your mouth and let me talk.
I can explain what actually happened.
Sir.
Go ahead, then I'll tell you how you tortured them.
I did not torture the tarantula. First of all, the tarantula's name was Herman. He had a name. Turns out to be a girl, but that's okay. Herman lived a very long life in a 4th grade classroom. When we
tortured for part of it.
We were not tortured. I built a 2-foot by 2-foot maze and trained the tarantula to go from one side of the maze to the other to find its food. And it would go, and I did time trials, and that was what we did for several months. And then I found a local vet who put it under anesthesia, and we shaved the front 4 legs of the tarantula.
Mm-hmm.
I have a VHS tape.
That's great. And then what happened?
And then we realized that
put paper on a bee.
And then we realized
and it died.
That they need their hairs to be able to move. So Herman backed into a corner and refused to move for
tortured.
Like 2 months.
Tortured.
Luckily, crickets are very dumb. And when you take all the other shadows out of the box, they hide under the tarantula and he will eat.
Tortured. So so last night we're trying to figure out the idea for what we're saying. Katie,
Joe totally wanted to do it.
Joe's like, we could do this. And then I was like, you do realize we know the results. They need the hair. And at this point, all you're doing is shaving and torturing a tarantula for an experiment.
I mean,
so we did not do that one.
No.
We're not. No tarantulas will be tortured.
It's okay. I
this
didn't
house.
make it to state because that stupid kid proved that
Yeah.
shrimp jump better on rough water.
Yeah, I made a
This
mistake.
was in the 8th grade. Okay.
I won-
graduated
That sounds
high
like some
school.
Southern Alabama shit.
Yeah.
I graduated high school 18 years ago, and this was 8th grade. So 22 years ago, this kid beat me, and I'm still very much holding a grudge.
Very salty about it.
So salty.
Yeah, like that water the shrimp lived in.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
Stupid
I
kid.
won at my
He
school.
knew his audience.
I shaved a fucking tarantula, and he
You
beat
know,
me.
over on the Bolivar Peninsula where Crystal Beach is, there used to be a hardware store called Claude's. It was a True Value. It was a big store. It got wiped out in 2008 by Hurricane Ike or 9, whatever year that was. But when I used to work patrol over there on the peninsula, one of the deputies told me, the only thing in Claude's that's locked up is the white rubber boots. And I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
like, go look.
that's how
That
it is
makes
in
sense.
So I
Bayou.
go in, and sure enough, the only thing
Shrimp
they had
boots.
besides the guns
Were
was the white rubber
yeah,
boots.
Bayou
'Cause-
La Battery.
For those that are up north, those are shrimp boots.
Yeah, shrimp
Shrimp
boots.
boots.
And that's a big shrimping community over
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they had to keep them locked up because they'd go in there and take their old nasty ones off, put new ones on, walk right up the
We
door.
would get bored, and we would take Sharpie markers and decorate them so that they were different from each other's.
Yeah.
Well, shrimp boots.
I mean,
But
Bayou La Battery.
so anyways, so yeah, that's all I got really.
That's where Bubba was Benjamin Buford Blues from.
It's
As far as
just like that.
as far as breeding, I don't know to mention the boas. One cool thing of the boa breeding that hopefully happens this year is that I have a super sun glow, which is an albino boa with 2 genes for hypomelanism. So it's a super sun glow, and I produced that one. So if it knocks up the 2 females that it has bred with, those babies will be offspring of a snake that I produced myself.
Is that the first time it's happened?
Be the first time I've ever done that. I'm super excited about that. I'm raising up some sand boas to be able to do that in several years, but this will be the first time I've done it with boas. So I'm excited there. And then the little male that finally figured out what to do. That's a fun one, just genetically. Also, by breeding that super sun glow to the 2 that I got bred to, I'll finally be able to prove out whether those are het albino snakes. The 2 females are not visual albinos, but they are coon ass Reeboks.
I mean,
Leave it to Paul's only contribution tonight to be a banger.
If the shoe fit.
Coon ass Reeboks. That is true. Also, for any non-Southern people, coon ass does not probably mean what you think it means,
It's not an actual coon or an ass.
and it's
Not
nothing racist.
derogative
Not at all.
It is aimed at Cajuns, and they will call themselves coon asses.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's like a redneck, but with a French accent.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of French accent.
It's like a redneck, but instead of they're eating a different kind of roadkill.
I remember the first time when I was working in Louisiana for that bath company, and I had to go down to Man Shack
Oh yeah,
to go talk to a customer. And
Could you talk to them?
so the lady was fine. Her dad, who was about 75,
Oh yeah, you ain't understanding a word he says.
I understood P-Row and I understood y'all.
Yeah.
And that was it. Everything else was,
I think that would be so weird for a lot of people to realize because technically parts of Louisiana those are America, but when you get down there,
yeah,
it is not America.
yeah.
It is not English speaking. It
In
is.
fact, one of my friends from there, he lives in Alabama now. He posted earlier, people who grew up in South Louisiana but moved, how many times have you had to explain what a Parrain, Parrain, and nanny was?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what that shit is.
I don't know what
and
that
I've
is.
spent a lot of time out there.
I say I lived in Louisiana. I've never heard of it. Yeah, it's a different world down there, but it's fun. It's a fun place to go visit.
Oh, nanny is like an aunt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, got it. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to those breedings. A lot of it is, in case anybody likes boas, a lot of it is call albino, hopefully in everything, and then we're working towards like some jungle and hypo stuff, a little bit of motley in there. So it's kind of a mixture between all of that.
It's a godfather and a godmother.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I also don't think I posted this or looked at this one last week, but last week we had Ryan Goslow. This was really cool. They did a CT scan on a 30-year-old leopard eel.
What?
It's this big like leopard moray eel looking thing, and they did a CT scan on it, which I thought was very interesting to do on that. The other was you would like this. We didn't talk about this last week. Was the red-eyed crocodile? Did you see the red-eyed croc skink?
Yes.
Where they actually like dig up the eggs, roll the eggs around, and like take care of the eggs.
That was
during-
Alex England's girlfriend
yeah.
that discovered that got that video. That's awesome.
So that's really cool. That could answer actually a lot for
The breeding issues
the
that are being
breeding.
had.
Maybe you can't remove them and incubate them. And if you can, you've got to learn how that works, what they're rotating. Because we were always taught with reptiles is you don't rotate eggs because they'll drown.
But then come to find out that they're doing it on their own. So obviously there's something going on there to make it
So
work.
this may be a lot like when people do like with the small morning geckos. They sometimes they just let them incubate and all that in the cage. So it's very interesting to see this this maternal instinct from this lizard that we normally wouldn't see. I also posted that Eve's Revenge snake snare box that's for sale at Home Depot. It's a box that snakes will crawl into, and there's a net in there.
It's bird netting.
Yeah, it's bird netting. They get tangled in it, and then they can get thrown away, shot, hit with a shovel, die, get cut up, whatever.
They claim that you just take scissors and cut the snake and release it somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, so I'll just go buy a minnow trap with the two,
then dump it
and put it where the snakes travel, and they'll go in it. It
Makes
works
a lot more sense.
great.
Yeah.
And then you go.
And there's no having to touch it. Because at this point, I mean, to remove it from a net, you'd have to, if you were really going to remove it from a net, you probably don't dislike the snake, which means you're probably not going to use the trap in the first place. If you're using the trap, you don't like the snakes there in the first place.
Mhm.
And unless you have somebody who can take it, grab it by the hand, by hand and take it out, you're probably just going to kill it.
Yep.
So that drove me nuts. I meant to mention this one last week because we had Luke on, but there was this awesome picture of this scrub python that someone found just laying in the jungle in Australia.
Saw that.
I was just massive scrub python. I can't imagine. I know for there, I've got to imagine just even if you're in Australia, and it still has to be cool to walk up on. Oh yes, because I mean it's cool for us to walk up on a rat snake in the wild
or a speckled king or something like that.
Yeah, that's still cool for us.
But it's not a 10-foot long scrub.
It's not a 10-foot long scrub, which would just be freaking awesome to walk up on.
I've said it before on here, but it was like March, whenever the first Slidell of the year, and it was just warming up a little bit. So me and Rachel and Russell went herping, and we were walking through like knee-high grass.
Yeah.
And Russell was like, it's a good thing we don't have really bad snakes here. Because we'd still be, Russell's in flip-flops, mind you, because, that's, Russell, who, congratulations.
They had that baby.
They had the baby this last week. His wife did. And she's healthy and happy and home. I believe they're home now.
Yeah, we had Russell on a couple months ago when we did the Corpus Christi show.
Mm-hmm.
He was on during our interview for the Corpus Christi show.
Yep. Another one of our friends that's 40 years old and having his first child.
That's
like, I think 3 of them.
Forget that.
Tracy was due 3 or 4 days ago.
Still hasn't had it.
Yeah.
Forget that. Also, we didn't talk about the amelanistic cottonmouth picture that kept getting posted around.
Mm-hmm. Oscar the Ornatus is making the rounds again. The ornate black-tailed Timmy found a few years ago that they're using in the scam posts. It's been going around the last couple of days.
And then I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but the dead
indigo,
the albino indigo that someone killed in the wild.
I remember you mentioning it.
So I did see some more on that story. Apparently it was hit by a lawnmower.
Okay.
It wasn't intentional. It was hit by a lawnmower or a weed eater or something, and they saw it and we're like, what is this? And
when it comes to those, I know there are a lot of people out there, and there was a comment on there. Some people are kind of glad when this happens because they don't like the idea of morphs of certain animals getting out there and then change it. I don't think morphs ruin a species, and people can say they ruin ball pythons, but they fucking didn't. No one gave a shit about, and people now can romanticize how much they love a normal ball python, but no, you fucking didn't. You didn't. They weren't.
That reminds me. Go ahead.
They weren't the thing. They were a thing, and they were cheap because we could import them cheap, and so beginners bought them. But they were all imported, and we all had issues feeding them. So I don't see a problem with a morph popping up in a wild population and someone trying to breed that and making that gene spread throughout that in a hobby.
Rhett Stanberry, he's in Florida. He and his wife Taylor. He's a photographer and a big, he's a pretty prolific herper and subject matter expert. He and his wife have been herping the areas where the Hurricane Ian hit.
Yeah.
And they found an adult female normal ball python that had just had a meal, but about this far behind her neck, she had a zip tie around her. Look, she had a zip tie around her.
So you shove food down her throat and then zip tied it so she could throw it up?
I guess. Well, they said she looks like she's been out there a while. She's beat up and had like wild skin. You could tell. They said they got the zip tie off and it was embedded, like it cut her.
Oh, shit.
But they don't know she looks super healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, big and fat and healthy. But yeah, so they took her home. They said, I guess we have a normal ball python now.
I just wonder if someone had issues with their snake constantly regurging, and as a horrible person, they shoved it down his throat
I don't know.
and then put a zip tie so it couldn't throw it back up.
Maybe that would seem like that would kill it faster.
I mean, people are
dumb.
horrible. People are horrible and dumb.
Yeah. But that's just a crazy find.
Yeah.
You know? That snake would have died from that.
Yeah.
At some point.
Jeez. It's fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I got. I got to find us a guest for next week. Next week we're doing recording.
That's the herping friend. They take her.
The
little monkey. She goes everywhere with them.
There's a ton of monkeys living in Florida, so have at it. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Again, if you have any ideas for a giveaway for next month, anybody out there wants to sponsor one, reach out to us, send us a message, and let us know, and we'll set that up and we can do it. And I'd love to get another giveaway going. Go on Morph Market, buy a ball python, because I mean, there's a few on there if you need a ball python. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out some of the. Let's go to crocodilians, just for shits and giggles. 29. There's 29, which is probably good. Probably good that there are 29.
Yep.
You probably don't need a crocodile. Let's see. You know what? Let's go look at bearded dragons. I'm curious as to bearded dragon numbers. Wow. So you had to guess. What would you think bearded dragons would be on Morph Market? Katie?
2,200.
Is it 2,200? How many do you think, Katie?
Bearded dragons?
Yeah.
Because it's baby season right now.
I'm going like 3,000.
1,334.
Oh, I almost said 1,500.
You know why I bet that number is lower than it probably would have been if this was 10 years ago? Crested geckos. So many people do crested geckos now. That's kind of been the lizard of choice. So
no, that makes sense.
And there's 5,747 of them in the U.S. for sale. So that probably does it. So again, I echoing back to what we talked about. If you're thinking about breeding reptiles, we're not telling you not to. Just do it smartly. Don't chase anything. Don't chase stuff.
Right.
That's the dumbest thing you can do is chasing things. Find the thing you like and breed it. Breed 1 or 2 litters a year. Don't let it be. It's not your living. Let it be a hobby.
And our friend Paul is doing this. He's got some babies for sale, and he's standing by his price. When you start dropping your price, it starts diluting the market.
Yeah.
Stand by your price. I understand if you have to make a living, it's different, but don't do a huge discount just to sell it, because that just trickles down and it becomes untenable.
Well, at that point, if you're having a huge discount on that to sell it, then whatever you bred together to make that, sell those too.
Yeah.
Because you've at that point decided that project is not worth the money you originally thought it was worth. And so why keep it?
Yeah.
I mean, that because whatever price you've put on the babies is a price you've put on the adults.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, again, breed what you like and understand if you can't afford to hold on to it for a while, then you probably don't need to breed it.
And that's what I tell people all the time. If you're going to start producing babies, you need to be prepared to keep them.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared.
Which I know sounds insane to some people because they're thinking, oh, I'm going to produce 100 babies. How do I keep 100 babies? Then you don't need to produce 100 babies.
Right. That's got to be prepared to sit on them.
Canal Side said, breed what you enjoy and make sure you can keep everything you produce in case you can't sell it.
I can't tell you how many people will ask me, man, I need a hatchling rack bad. I got these babies and the eggs are due any day. And yeah, you had those eggs for at least, 50 days.
Yeah.
Right. Plan ahead.
Yeah, it's harder to convince me you didn't know it was like, all right, if the snake's pregnant, okay, and then it pops out a small litter.
Sure.
All right, you didn't think it was pregnant, you just thought it was kind of fat. Sure.
But
when you incubated the eggs for a period of time,
right,
you knew it was coming. You've been counting down days.
I appreciate them coming to me for a rack, but it's very rare that I have stuff built and that you can just come get one. Jennifer, our friend Jennifer, just posted, someone just called an orca a sea Oreo, and I can't forget it.
And the worst part about that post is as soon as I saw it, because it just popped up on mine as well, I was like, ooh, I have Halloween Oreos in the pantry.
Sea Oreo.
My daughter last week made a pumpkin pie from scratch, and I still have a couple pieces at home, so that's what I'll be going home to get.
I'm ashamed of you that you haven't eaten them yet.
I've been trying not to eat that kind of stuff. Trying.
We don't have much else going on. Again, this weekend, come on out to, if you're in the area, and if you're in the Houston area, drive on down. It's 20 minutes south of Houston in Iowa Colony in a neighborhood called Meridiana. We will post that over on the discussion. We'll post it on our main page too. I think we have. But come out, come visit, come see us, come see all the animals, come see all the vendors. Robert will be there. I'll have some signs available.
Some cages.
Maybe some hides.
Maybe. I didn't cut any today.
So cages will be there. So come on out, and there'll be some animals. It's not a reptile show. I don't want anybody to think that. It is an educational reptile event where we will have some vendors selling some dry goods stuff. We're not really selling animals, selling dry goods. And then you can see Dr. Green come talk about the venomous snake bites, which is totally worth the drive down just to watch Dr. Green talk about venomous snake bites.
Like, I'm going to be like, hey, Rachel, watch our booth for a minute.
Yeah, I'm probably, I think so. I'm going to disappear to go watch Spencer Green talk about snake bites.
Yeah.
So come see us this weekend. We're not at a reptile show. We're in town at Reptile Day. Again, if you want to save 15% on your VivTech light bulbs, which we need to get we realized that the UV bulb on our bearded dragon downstairs, which is not a VivTech bulb, but it's an old school one that I found, and that's what we're using right now until we get the other one ordered. It obviously is low on UV because we opened the blinds the other day because it's right there on the kitchen table, and I look over within 5 minutes and it's laying on that side of the tank, away from the heat, next to the window. I was like, all right, there's not a lot.
The window filters out UV, and so does the tank. So that's
right.
there.
So yeah, I can only imagine if we put that VivTech bulb on it, it will go straight underneath it, just like yours did. Yours is in a new cage. I saw that.
Doing great.
She's in a big old 4x2x2 PVC cage that you made it. It looks great.
Yeah, she's doing great in there. Like I thought she was getting, on the down
towards the end.
Man, she's really rebounded in there.
Probably holds heat really well.
It does.
Much better than a glass tank did.
It does. Holds the heat really well, holds everything. I mean, it's done great. I put her in there and she was in there for maybe 5 minutes, and Logan came and dumped a bunch of ice pods in there, and I'm like, she's gonna eat those.
And she did.
And she ate a bunch of dairy cows. And I'm like, he was like, oh my God, I started grabbing them back out. Yeah, I was like, you have to put those in like at night when she's sleeping, and
after you fed her and she's full.
And they gotta figure out where they're gonna hide. So that's what we did, is we put them in there that night after, because she puts her face on the corner and goes to sleep. So once the light went off, we dumped them on the other end. And now if you go in there and pick up the wood or anything, they're under it.
I do also want, I know this is at the end of the podcast, nobody's probably listening to this part, but and I'll probably start one of the future ones like this, but a heads up, it is getting cold. It is the time of year where several things happen. One, your temperatures of your animals' cages, depending on where they are in your house, may have been great all year. If they're near a window, it's probably gonna get colder than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably warm in the middle of the house, but think about the walls of the house. If you have reptiles near an exterior wall, just double check temperatures in the room.
Did you see that too, Katie?
What was it?
Oh no, I was looking to see what he put on top of this because there's a hole underneath it.
There was like a shadow in your closet just now.
Oh.
Cool. That's where I keep the ghost.
Okay.
So
just friendly.
Just double check your cages. If you've got animals outside, by now you're bringing them in or heating them. And also just be careful, because this is also the time of year where electrical fires or gas heater fires really start up. Everybody's turning the heaters back on. Make sure your air filters are clean. Make sure everything's cleaned up. Make sure you're ready for winter, and just be safe. House fires are, as a reptile hobby, is probably most people's number one fear.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, as much as a virus is scary, it doesn't scare me as much as my entire house burning down because of one bad plug. So just keep that in mind with it getting cold. Things are going to start changing in your house than they were all spring and summer. All right. Anybody else have anything else to say? Nope.
I'm good.
Nope. If you need a cage rack, reach out to Robert at lsreptileracks.com. Look for signs coming soon. I'll have that Facebook page up, and we'll post it over in the group.
The Facebook page is up. I'll post it up later. I made it. So 10 years ago, I used to do paracord bracelets. Back when I first, I used to do paracord bracelets. Well, I've had that page for a long time, and it's just been inactive, but it has like 400 followers.
Yeah. So
I just commandeered it today and changed the name and changed everything, and made a pinned post about, not doing paracord bracelets anymore. And so I didn't have to create a new page. I actually kind of stole some of my old audience.
A lot of custom design signs. So if you're thinking about sign, Christmas time's coming up, you want to get somebody a sign, backlit, pretty sign, put it in a certain room, a game room, a craft room, reptile room, whatever. Hit up Robert for that. Yep. They're going to be great. That's it. we will be back in 2 weeks. Again, next week will be some recordings from the Conroe show. If I'm not mistaken, I got to look. I'm pretty sure, but I know, Dax, that will definitely be Jules' episode on that one, even if it's not the Conroe episodes. Yeah. Hers will be on there. Yeah, I've got to get shirts at some point, Darren. I know I've dropped the ball over and over again. I've got to figure out the easiest way. If anybody has the easiest way to set up an online drop shipping type store for shirts, shoot me a message. Let me know what the easiest way to set that up is. I don't know the way that I'm looking at, but I kind of prefer to go the non-website way. But we're going to do a website, and it's 2022. I think websites are kind of, you don't really have to do them anymore. But anyways, thank y'all for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a live episode and some guests that I have not signed up yet. Pip Stalkers, just wanted to stop on and say hi to everyone while I'm on break. We'll catch the replay tomorrow. Thank you for the content you guys put out. Love this podcast always. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. That is awesome. So again, y'all have a great 2 weeks. Have a great Halloween. Post pictures of if you have reptile themed costumes, post those over in the discussion group.
That'll be fun.
I would love to see some reptile. And I guess if you dress up your reptile, you can post those too.
Yes, post those too.
Fucking name.
I have a dragon costume for my guinea pig.
Anyways, so we'll talk to all of y'all after Halloween. Good night. Bye.